welcome back everybody. This is Mog once more, Mog's Cast, playing some Kerbal Space Program. And we're jumping right in today to our new episode. We're going to be building a craft to go up into a normal orbit around Kerbin, but this time we're going to be putting up one of our new parts. We're going to be putting up the Mobile Processing Lab, OMPL LG2. And what this is supposed to do is basically let us take full advantage of the projects that we do out in the field, all of our science experiments, up in orbit so that we don't have to come all the way back to Kerbin. We're going to be putting it in Kerbin Orbit just as mainly a test. And just kind of get familiar with how the unit works. But putting that out there right now, actually we're going to put up a pod first. I'm going to go with a 3-man pod since it's the right size. And we're also going to be putting on, let's see, we are going to be equipping this thing for a return, just in case. This is the double size, that is not the drogue, so we are going to be putting that right there. We are going to be putting on a decoupler. This is going to be a very basic ship, but, you know, it's kind of big, so we have to build a good launcher for it. So that's going to be the trick. Why don't we go ahead and we're going to attach this, and you will actually get to see how big this is in comparison. 3.5 mass. It's quite heavy. In comparison, let's just take a look how heavy this guy is. This is a 4.12. Excuse me, so it's a little bit heavier than the pod up here, or a little bit lighter than the pod. But, I mean, it's a pretty large, bulky unit. So let's go ahead and we're going to attach some parts that's going to allow us to transmit some science. We're going to be using these guys here. 4, is that the right spacing? That is the right spacing. We're going to go right like this. Right there. Now this detaches, leaves the pod. Yep, that's all looking solid. So why don't we go ahead and attach another adapter here so that we can click on the next docking node, because I don't have the big docking rings just yet. So we're still rolling off the single, you know, this standard docking ring. So clicking that on there, we are going to need batteries. Let's snap on a few of those, shall we? We are going to need some ways to generate electricity, so let's click on a few of these as well. I'm going to grab the completely housed in ones. Put them right there. And why don't we do a second array right there, just so that we have some good electricity generation for the standard systems here. The cool thing is this lab holds 2 Kerbals and this holds 3, the pods. So we're gonna have some storage room to actually get some Kerbals up into you know, consistent missions as opposed to out and back home. Our list of Kerbal knots is getting quite high. So I need to start working on getting some Kerbals out and about more permanently. So let's take a look. I think we've gotten most of what we want for this main piece that's going to be left docking. I know it doesn't have any fuel. I know it doesn't have any engines. That's because we're going to be attaching the rest of that material to it, and it's going to be launching up and detaching once we get this thing into a proper orbit. So let's take a peek and find ourselves a decoupling ring. This guy right here is going to do the trick. Click that on there. We're going to use the extension here to bring back up to full size. And let's take a look. We don't have our big tanks yet, so let's just grab some of these guys. We're going to be putting on a skipper right there. I am going to be grabbing, nope, we're going to actually be grabbing another proper decoupler for this one. And then clicking on a proper set here too. Oops, why don't we do that? Detach that, engine is exposed. That's going to be our stage just like that. Now what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to be trying this build a slightly bit different than what we had previously. I'm going to be attaching all the way up here for our you know, this thing, asparagus staging. That's what I'm trying to say. Getting that up there, click that in place, click that in place. We still have a little bit more space to go, so let's... Ooh, that actually might end up being too heavy. Maybe. It's actually a lot of weight to be pushing if I had more than 2 tanks. I think the skippers don't like handling that. Let's move this down then. Oops, not the whole piece. Ah, go back. Okay. Grab. Can I just grab? Nope, that's still that whole piece. Let's rotate up and grab right there. And okay, that seems to be about right. Let's click those in place right there. That's a little closer. I think we can make do with this build. Let's toss these engines down here. Now those are pretty even. So we're going to have to strut this up, of course, but we're also going to be putting on some other bits and pieces as well. So getting, oops, come on now. Click that in there. Let's get the, actually I'm going to center that so the stripes look a little better. Let's put on the nose cones. Now that looks a little better. And this payload doesn't look too big in comparison to the rest of the rocket, so I think the weight distribution is going to be okay. Let's put on... Let's do... How about right... Actually, I'm going to mark the wings as the center point first. Not the deltas, or not the big deltas. We are going to do the standard delta winglet for a little bit of control in the atmosphere. I feel like we should put something up here. Maybe that's too much. Maybe I'm over constructing this now. But I think I'm going to do it anyway. Just provide additional like roll stability. I think we want to do that. Okay. We're going to leave it as is there. And let's work on getting some of the solid rocket boosters on here as well. Now, I think we're going to actually have to move those wings a little bit higher so that we can attach the this guy on these, the launch stabilizer, that is. Click that in there. Let's grab some solid rocket boosters, shall we? Come on, click it on in there. That seems about right. Is that even? That seems even enough. Copy that. Put this down here. That looks about correct. I think it's just a slight bit off. That should be fine though. I think that'll work out. It's not that big of a difference. Hopefully it shouldn't cause too much of an issue. Click those into place. Now we pretty much just need to set up asparagus staging and set our struts. And then we'll do some other tests. I do want to make sure that we get... there's another Kerbonaut that I want to get added in, so why don't we go ahead and save this as our mobile processing lab. Orbiteer 1. That's a long name. MPLO. How about mobile lab... Mobile Orbital Lab something. Mobile Orbital Lab? What's the word I'm looking for? What's this thing called? Processing Lab. Mobile Orbital Mobile. I'm trying to come up with a good thing here. I just can't do it. Whatever. So let's call it the OMPL, since that's the proper one if I want to add orbital into the title. Call it good. The OMPL1. Use that and save it. So let's see. That seems pretty decent. I think we'll be able to get this up into a stable orbit. I do believe. I hope. If not, I mean, we will be able to recover the pilots. They should be fine, and all that. And I think that'll be cool to have a nice little orbital science rig up in orbit around Kerbin. I've said orbit so many times. Sorry. Why don't we go ahead, take a quick look. We have batteries, we've got solar panels, those are all looking solid. Have we got lights? We don't have lights yet, so let's put lights down by the docking ports, since that's going to be where the rest of the station's going to be attaching to. Let's set these up right with the batteries, shall we? Might as well, right? Go with 4 right there, that should be fine. They're angled down, they should illuminate pretty well. That looks good. We'll save this up, and what should we do? Is there anything else that we really want to set up for these guys? I wonder. This won't line up, and it won't because this pod's odd with its ladders and its escape port. That's okay though. I don't really want to put... Yes, I do. What am I saying? I want to have an ASAS on there. ASAS comes in very handy. Click that on there. We don't really need RCS because this is just going to be where everything else is docking to. I don't think we'll need it too much. I can always bring up a new unit to add it in if I need it. It wouldn't be that balanced, but that's okay. Whatever, we can make do. I just kind of want to get this thing up here and see how it works. Mainly is my concern. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna get this strutted up and come back to you guys. Since you guys have seen how the asparagus staging works, I don't really think I should go through all that again, waste your time. But yeah. Okay. Bloop. Beep. Okay, we are back. And I've got this all strutted up. I've got it all set up and staged. This should pretty much be a perfectly, well, I won't say perfectly, it should be perfectly ready for launch. I have noticed a few structural weak points here at this joint. Once everything else separates, this won't be attached other than physically attached to this point right here, so any wobbles might actually snap the lab off at the adapter. I hope that won't be the case, because there isn't too much weight up here, all things considered. I'm hoping it'll be enough to hold it together to get to orbit. I guess we'll find out tomorrow during the launch phase. But in the meantime, let's double check. I'm going to set up our last few things with our, I guess it's not 100% set up, with our things here. What am I trying to say? You know, our action groups. That's what I'm trying to say. Words right there. I should just look. Anyway, we got that looking good there. So I've got our solar panel set up on 1, our antenna set up on 2, and I'm gonna put it, I don't need to put our lights, those are our only lights, so L will do the trick. That looks solid to me, guys. I think we're good. So let's save this, let's pick a crew, and it's not gonna be these 3. Well, someday we're gonna launch up these guys, just not today. Why don't we get, actually, I did say we had a Kerbal not waiting, didn't we? So that's saved. Let's go back and take a look at the recruitment center, shall we? Astronaut complex. Who was it? Kerbal not Oak Spirit, that's the one. So welcome to the Kerbal Space Program series here. United Kerbal Industries, the beginnings. Our career mode file. So welcome aboard, and you will be actually launching up with this rocket. At least that is the idea. Along with 2 other crewmen and space for 2 more. So maybe we'll shoot up a mission and bring up some scientists. For now, we're going to need some brave, stupid people launching on this mission, I think. So we've got, oops, didn't mean to click action groups. Let's switch back over. It is still empty. Let's find our brave dumbs. Actually, you're going to be a brave, smart Oak Spirit. That's okay. Santa Kerbin, you're going up with him. And Burbles Kerbin. The bravest and dumbest of all Kerbals. Burbles Kerbin. Kerbals. I did say that right, that rhymed too well. The OMPL1 will be launching up on tomorrow's episode, the launch phase of the OMPL1. So until then, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you then. Cheers!